Hi, it's Adam Phillips here. Over the next 7 days, I'll be running through 7 steps to a successful new financial year in real estate investing. And all these steps I'm going to be running through is exactly what I'm doing across my property portfolio right now. And the same thing I do every financial year. So, what we're going to be looking at, the first step, step one, day one, is income and expenses. And what we always want to make sure that our income are always higher than our expenses. Otherwise, that's going to put us in a pretty bad position. So, what we're going to start to look at first is our income. And our ultimate goal through a real estate investment portfolio is to have rental income rolling in and freedom rolling out. So there's a lot of income related things with your real estate portfolio. What we want to do in this step here is gather all the data from all the income related to our investment properties. What you also want to be doing is gathering all the data. If you're out there, if you've got a job, you want to know exactly what income that is across the financial year. Or if you've got a business or businesses, want to know what that income is across those businesses. Whether you've got other investments as well, shares, other stuff going on, want to know what the income is through them. If you've got any side hustles going on, trying to make a bit of extra cash, fantastic. Want to know what that income is. And we also want to look at, what's the value of all our assets, all our retirement funds. And then we'll use those in a further step. What we've also have with income is expenses. So what we want to know is exactly what all our expenses are throughout the entire financial year. And a bit of a pro tip as well, rather than waiting to the very end of the financial year to gather all this data, what I highly recommend you do is during the financial year, make sure you've got know exactly what all your income are and all your expenses is as well. That way, there's a lot less work for you at the end of the financial year. You know exactly how your businesses are performing, how your portfolio is performing. So what we want to do is get all the expenses relating to our investment properties. Want to find out, what are all those work-related expenses as well. Expenses from our businesses. Want to look at, expenses from other investments that we have. Expenses from your side hustles. And what we want to do is make sure we're checking every single statement and we've got all those expenses, ready to go. What we also want to be doing is going through every single one of our emails throughout the financial year, just in case there's a statement or a receipt that's been sent there, something that you might have paid online or paid through PayPal. Most of those receipts are going to go through your emails. Same as your text messages, just in case you purchase something that's been, expense. What we want to do is make sure that we've got all those accounted for. Then what I highly recommend you do is set up folders in your email so that when you've got an expense or you've got an income coming through, make sure you've actioned what you need to do with that and then file them away. So there's 3 simple folders to make things pretty simple with your investment portfolio. So have one, real estate, income and expenses. So once you've paid that bill, once you've got that income coming in, file it away in there so you know exactly where it is. You might have another folder, real estate reference. So something that's not related to income and expenses, you don't want to delete those emails. You never know when you're going to need them. So file them away into a reference folder. You might have another folder, tax or business tax. There's tons and tons you could have, but these are just 3 simple ones that you can use to get you started. What I highly recommend you do then is scan every single document related to your income and expenses. You can have paper copies if you like. Make sure you scan every single one of them because you never know what might happen to them. What you can do then is set up a cloud account. They're all free. You've got, Google Drive, you've got Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox. Go and set up one of those free accounts and then set up folders like this. Tax, nice simple one, and then go into every single year. So you'll be able to backtrack and check on receipts or what was happening in that year. But let's just have a look. If we went into 2009 into 2020, we might have one set up here, like assets, business, credit cards, donations, whatever those income and expenses look like to you. And the final one, property. So if we then went into that property folder, we might have, property 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10, 20, however many properties that you do have. And then inside these folders, all those expenses and income that relate to those properties, they'll all be in there nice and filed away. So income and expenses can sometimes be like balancing euros and potatoes. We always want to make sure our income is higher than our expenses. You never ever want to be living, beyond your means. And so now we've gathered all this data. Tomorrow we're going to be running through step 2, and we're going to look at, okay, what are we actually going to do with this data? How are we going to analyze it? So I hope you got something out of today, and I look forward to bringing you step 2 tomorrow.